Ba-dum. Ba-da-dum, ba-dum-bum. New Epstein files. Not a news that I thought I would get on a Friday evening. Okie dokie. Let's get those follows out of the way. Facebook is a bit late. Go on. Hey Sherry, thanks for the follow. Every time you turn on Streamlabs, I'll actually mute them at the moment. There we go. Every time you turn on Streamlabs, you get those follows that come offline proactively. I think that was all, finally. Yay. Now I can turn the sounds back on. Okie dokie. We're gonna start with the doozy. Which is, we got some new Epstein files. And it's gonna probably cause a bit of ruckus, hopefully. And this again just shows that how deep that rabbit hole goes. So House Democrats released new Epstein photos with Trump, Bannon, Clinton, and a lot of others. Woody Allen, Bill Gates, a lot of people. So we're gonna go through those files and those pictures we got. So these are the new photos that we received now. Let's see if I can make it like this. There we go. No, let's not put it to full screen. Let's just... There we go. I think that's better. Donald Trump appears in yet another photo with Epstein. This is something that I wonder how many times does these two need to be in the same photo until his fans and colleagues in the Republican Party start to take actions. I don't know. We'll see how many times. Then we have the former White House aide Steve Bannon in conversations with Jeffrey Epstein. A framed photo of a woman lying down can be seen. Oh, here. Oh, god damn. That is kind of brutal. Donald Trump with a woman, face redacted. Jeffrey Epstein shares refreshments with actor and director Woody Allen. Woody Allen being in the Epstein photos and files doesn't really shock me, because Woody Allen is a sick son of a bitch who, if I remember correctly, did he marry his daughter? Yeah, adopted daughter. That's true. So she adopted a girl and married her. Fucking wild. Tech billionaire Bill Gates and the former Prince Andrew. These are all photos from Epstein. Donald Trump poses with a group of women. Again. On the island. Framed photo on the wall including one of Bill Gates. It's sad that all of the other ones are redacted, so we don't know who they are. Novelty Donald Trump condoms for sale. Trump condom for $4.50. I'm huge. Like, Jeffrey Epstein chats to director Woody Allen again. And this looks like a set of something. Woody Allen chats with Steve Bannon once again. Bill Gates bought a private jet. possibly the Epstein jet. Former Harvard President Larry Summers with Woody Allen aboard a private jet. Printed instructions to sex toys. A sex toy glove. Jeffrey Epstein takes a selfie with Steve Bannon once a fucking again. Steve Bannon is like giving Trump a run for his money. Like, how many times can you appear with Jeffrey Epstein? Trump is leading at the moment, but Steve Bannon is really quickly catching up. Some more erotic paraphilia. Bro, stop scrunching your forehead so much. I can't do that. A signed photo of Bill Clinton with Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and 2 unidentified people. You're very masculine lesbian. The only problem is I'm not a lesbian though, so. Sorry for that. If that's your thing, sorry for that. Jeffrey Epstein with prominent lawyer Alan Dershowitz. Jeffrey Epstein with Richard Branson and an unidentified man. So these were the new pictures shared from the Epstein files. And once again, what's up, bro? Explain QE and why our government is funding mathematical equations instead of physical tests. What? I would rather explain. Oh, I would rather want an explanation. Why is Trump with Epstein so many times? That's a bit of a more like trending news topic. You know what? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. Because this is just wild. So the oversight Democrats have released a new patch of photos from Jeffrey Epstein's estate, including images of Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, Woody Allen, the former Prince Andrew, Steve Bannon, and Bill Gates. There was some sensitive material here as well. But like I asked the question earlier, how many times and how much does Trump need to be linked to Jeffrey Epstein before the MAGA movement and the Republicans start taking actions? Before anybody says that, well, there's other people as well. Yes, Bill Gates should instantly resign as the CEO of Microsoft. There's too much evidence that Bill Gates had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. His name is all over the place. Prince Andrew already resigned. Nobody should take another word from Steve Bannon after having like private conversations with Jeffrey Epstein and selfies through a fucking mirror. Yeah, Steve Bannon's career, that's over now. Who else was here? Woody Allen wasn't a surprise. If Woody Allen wasn't a friend with Jeffrey Epstein, I would have been surprised. Considering like what kind of a scumbag Woody Allen is. That's like literally didn't surprise me at all. Also, another person I didn't really get surprised by was... Where's Bill Clinton? We had a picture of Bill Clinton as well. Oh, there you go. Bill Clinton being friends with Epstein didn't really surprise. The Clintons should never be in any political power. Although both Clintons are getting old, so I don't think they're going to be. But all Democrats should instantly just denounce the Clintons. That's it. Like, they need to have a backbone as well. Not just yell at the moon that Trump is in here. They need to also take action to their own. Clinton, Woody Allen, Bill Gates, others. 100%. So, Pierogi. What up, nothing footage? Interesting set of pictures. One of the most interesting pictures was this picture with Jeffrey Epstein and Steve Bannon. Because clearly there's a female here on this picture here who is passed out. Wanna hear a joke, buddy? I can tell you a joke. Trump wasn't friends with Jeffrey Epstein. One of the best jokes I've ever read. Even though they were best buddies. But I know, you know. Why do mermaids wear seashells? Oh, well, tell me. It's never gonna happen. Too much money and too much power. Probably. They grew out of their beach. Okay, that was a good one. I have to give it to you. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. God damn, you got me there. Have a good day, friend. Hey, thanks, Timmy, for dropping by and lighting up the mood. Thanks a million. Hello from Israel. What up? So, House Democrats published a new tranche of what they call disturbing photographs from the estate of the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein on Friday, featuring, among others, Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, and British former royal Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. The 19 photographs, some of which have been seen before, represent a small number of the almost 100,000 images released to the House Oversight Committee that is looking into the actions and connections of Epstein, the disgraced financier who died by apparent suicide in New York. Israel, you mean Palestine. The disgrace, among the notable figures shown are celebrities including the film director Woody Allen, the Microsoft founder Bill Gates, and Richard Branson, founder of the Virgin Empire. Fight in the chat. Fight in the chat. 3 of the images feature Trump former political advisor Steve Bannon, 2 of them with Epstein and 1 with Allen in a social setting. The photographs were released without context or captions, but according to the Robert Garcia, the California Democrat and ranking member of the Oversight Committee, they raise more questions about Epstein's connections to wealthy individuals. It is time to end the White House cover-up and bring justice to the survivors of Epstein and his powerful friends. 100% agree. And to be fair, this should be, eventually when the rest of the files are released, unless Trump wants to veto and not release them, this should be the end of Trump's political career. He's lied so many times when it comes to these files and his relationship with Epstein. But unfortunately, his fans don't give a fuck. They actually like the idea that Trump could be friends with that Trump is a friend with the BDF. So it should be in any other civilized country, it would be the political end of Trump. But unfortunately, in the United States, they kind of just cheer if your hero is a pedophile or friends with a pedophile. Right? Do you support a two-party system? I actually think that there should be more. I touched upon this a few streams ago, that there are a lot of people in the United States that don't fall into that, either a Democrat or a Republican. And independence at the moment is kind of pointless. So they are forced to vote either Democrats or Republicans, even though they don't align completely. So I think their multi-party system is way better than just having 2 big parties. For example, the way that a lot of the European countries are, because then you have more nuance and you can find actually the candidate and the party that best matches your ideas and your values. For example, here in Ireland, there's like, 7 or 8 different parties. So there's a lot of course, there's the big parties, but there's also many smaller parties that you can actually get representation in the government. The same is in Finland. All the Nordic countries in general, all the Central European countries as well. I feel we the people all agree at that. That third eye is staring right at me. George Washington agreed. Unfortunately, I don't think that's gonna happen unless the people of United States decide to make a change. Because there's too much money having those two parties being in power. I hope this is a wake-up call. I hope this is a wake-up call, like the Epstein case, once everything is revealed, could be a wake-up call, depending on how the parties react, how Republicans and Democrats react. If they start to like protect their own and attack the other side, the people should realize that, hey, this fucking system is corrupt, we need to do something. You cannot say it depends on people, we are people. No, it depends how the, like, this could be the catalyst for everything. I hope it is. Once this will be revealed, he will die of old age. I mean, Father Time collects us all, so there are human beings on this planet that Father Time could, like, hurry the fuck up. Not saying Trump is one of them, but Father Time could hurry the fuck up. But I do want justice for the victims, though. And the only way we get justice is if we actually, like, require some morals of our leaders. And it's kind of hard to require morals when your leaders are literally friends with a pedophile, sex trafficker, really bad human being. Steve Bannon, yeah. Steve Bannon's career should be dead now. No Republican or MAGA person should ever listen to Steve Bannon. In Romania, the justice system just fucking exploded. What? Apparently so. I don't want to subscribe to Reuters. Romanian magistrates sound alarm over captured justice system. Authorities pledged to check claims made in a TV documentary alleging corruption and undue influence in the justice system. The Juridical Inspectorate, the body responsible for overseeing the professional conduct of judges and prosecutors in Romania, announced on Friday that it has opened prelim checks into accusations made by several magistrates in a recent media investigation alleging corruption, undue influence, and other deeply troubling practices within Romanian jurisdiction. God damn. I love that how fast some European countries tackle corruption when they find it. Of course, it often, like, flies under the radar. They were protecting a lot of criminals. Was the Tate brother? Did they protect the Tate brothers? Andrew and Tristan Tate? It isn't done yet. The documentary claims that judges who decline to follow recommendations from senior judicial figures are quietly removed from cases involving high-profile defendants, particularly politicians or powerful business people. Oh, we need to follow this. Nearly 200 judges and prosecutors issued a joint statement on Thursday asserting that Romania's justice system has been effectively captured by the highest level of judicial authority and has, in their view, been distorted to serve the interest of influential political and economic actors. They argue that the revelations presented by the recorded represent only the tip of the iceberg and warn that the credibility of the entire juridical system is now at risk. Oh, we need to follow this. I want to see how this ends. And I want to see, like, people put in front of justice, like those who have been abusing justice. And if they don't put put these bad actors, these corrupted people into justice, I think the people will revolt, right? The YouTube channel is called Recorder. This started 2-hour documentary. I need to check that. Because similar things like this has been like revealed around the world. There was the Philippines where they found that the government agency that was supposed to manage the emergency funds for flooding, they actually embezzled the money for themselves. So when they had the flooding just a month ago in the Philippines, the fucking Gen Z generation just revolted and they started persecuting the whole ministry. It gained like 2 million views in 2 hours. God damn. Presume it's this one. And this is the documentary. Watch later. Thank you. Thanks for the recommendation, No Name. I need to check that. This is one of the things why I'm doing this, and what I'm doing is like giving commentary on a lot of different things happening around the world. And of course, I might miss something. For example, I wasn't aware of this because this is not popping, even though a lot of different countries are now popping up in my feed. And slowly but surely, I'm like gaining more of like areas that I received news from. Hey, Christian donates $199. Was that a real donation? Thanks a million. But like this bum, Prophet Muhammad. Talking about yourself, right? Learn how to spell English, idiot. If we're starting to like go ad hominem immediately. I don't even think you're like Muslim, but if you're a Muslim, a lot of like prominent Muslim figures, like thousands of years ago, had long hair, so. You're a doctor or an engineer. Me? I'm not, I'm neither. I can tell you a funny story about long hair yesterday. I was drinking yesterday. Listen, not happy with your tone of your voice, young lady. That's so sad. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe the issue is because I'm not a young lady. So maybe there's something wrong with you, Prophet Muhammad. No, I'm humoring this for a second. This is just hilarious. I can't wait to like report you and you just lose that account for nothing. That's funny. Will you convert to Islam? No, I'm an atheist. Why would I convert to Islam? Just because you believe in fairy tales, I don't need to. And you have the right to believe whatever you want to. I don't. That's the beauty of it. Well said. And the funny thing is, like, I've read a lot of like religious scriptures and a lot of like, because I value the stories they have. Not all of them. Some of them are fucking hilariously horrible, but a lot of them, like the scriptures, have great stories inside them. But that's everything. But I have nothing against people of faith or people who want to believe and find like comfort in believing a supernatural thing. It's your own thing. Do you agree that science can't answer where we come from? Yes, science can. The universe and how do we explain infinity? If you If physics on different planets can be different, yes. So first of all, man created God. God didn't create man. Hello, at some point it can. Think about space as no ending. What's your argument here? That space has no ending. Like, yeah, because it's expanding all the time. I've been living in Ramat Gan for over 5 years. Because it's expanding all the time. Hey Darian, thanks for the follow. Where did it start? From the singularity. Okay. This is probably wasting my time, but you do know how the universe works, right? Like the universe, as far as we know, is started from a singular point and now is extracting. But the newest consensus, the newest understanding is it's more like a harmonica that the universe is doing like a wave motion constantly. So at some point it will again return to that singularity and then again explode. It's the point where the mass of the universe is contracted to such a small point that it creates a massive explosion that is still expanding. That's because that's how big of an explosion it is. It hasn't stopped yet. I don't know, it's just a theory. It is just a theory, I know. But the explosion of the Big Bang is still ongoing. And we are expanding faster than light reaches. It's not an explosion. Explosion might be a bit the wrong term because this is like trying to figure out how to explain it in English. We might find that with the new telescope, 100%. Explosion is the only like the closest thing to explain it like without being an actual scientist who studies that. Be honest, it's extremely difficult that all this in space and time just appeared. No, it's not. It's fascinating though. I don't find it difficult to believe. I think if you want to blow your brains, if you want what's Andromeda, which is the closest galaxy that the closest neighboring galaxy that we have, the light that you see from the Andromeda galaxy, which you can actually see with your naked eye, you don't need any telescopes or anything. If you watch the stars in Andromeda galaxy, millions and millions of years has passed when you see that light. Do you know that the intelligence we have compared to an orangutan? What if we are the same brain capacity as an orangutan to God? Oh my God, we are new, quite recent talking in space years. That is true. Oh yeah, 100%. Nothing can always be there. That's not how our brain works. What? The things you're saying like feels like they are like half sentences. We just had a conversation about nothing and the concept of nothing. No. They dropped 2.8 tactical nuke in evaporation of Ukraine, Russia, of NATO when added and unloaded on each other. They dropped 2.8 tactical nukes. Well, there's the difference between us. You don't really explain anything. You just put your faith in an entity that is all powerful and all seeing without any evidence. And we require evidence. That's the difference between an atheist and a believer. You have no proof of an entity that you believe that created everything, except man-made scriptures. We require evidence, data. We require scientific proof. Rachel got the word out and they killed her. What's the link? What's the link? What fucking link? Bulgaria isn't gonna get attacked by... But you put your faith in evidence. It's really not faith, though. We don't claim anything unless we can really prove it. We have theories, but those are not like hard evidence. You have no proof that everything just appeared from nowhere to be where it is now. Well, we do have evidence where it all began, though. Well, they attack something, it will be mostly Moldova. Every animal, plant, landscape on this planet and all the other planets in a never-ending universe out of a billion of universe. Try to get people in Europe, you won't reach anyone. We have two conversations going. We have a conversation about the universe and we have the conversation about Europe, I guess. But I don't see anywhere that Russia attacked anyone. Okay, what the hell are we talking about? Rachel got the word out and they killed her. Who the fuck is Rachel? Traitor Trump into Russian Republicans. Trump's going to be removed from office. They're trying to impeach him. Yeah, that would be great. That would be great, though. I have a few reasons to impeach him. Like, why did Epstein have pictures of Trump condoms, though? That's kind of wild. And that's really hard to explain anyway. Like, how do you explain this? These are from the Epstein estate. Why does the Epstein estate have pictures of Trump condoms? Having your face on condom, bro. It kind of goes with his brand, though. He probably uses it like while he's masturbating as well, in front of a mirror. I think he's one of those guys. Beats one out in front of a mirror because he's more attractive and sexy than his wife. According to him, because he is the most sexiest and the most handsome and most attractive president there ever was. But I do have a question for Maga. Or while looking at the child section of a catalog. That could be it. That could be it. They didn't get along. They didn't get along. Your faith in Trump is as pointless as your faith in your fictitious god. Trump and Epstein literally were good friends. If you didn't get along with a person, why the fuck would you be with him all the time? Well, he threw him out of Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, decades later. No friendship lasts forever. Even Trump's helpers are with Epstein. Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon and Trump are like this. And this is not a... He wasn't with him. Oh my... Well, this explains everything. He wasn't with him all the time. Of course, he wasn't with his wife all the time. He wasn't with his wife when he was like pregnant for Bannon. He was fucking that porn star. How fucking thick are you? Few times. Everything he has ever done wrong is just a democratic hoax. But Prophet Muhammad, now I understand. You're just a fucking idiot. Sorry for going ad hominem, but oh my fucking god, the cope you have at the moment. The flight logs, the emails, the pictures, even the videos, the birthday card. Jeffrey literally calling Trump his best friend. Exactly. But if you want to go there, like call some Islamic sources, I've read some Islamic scriptures, and I wouldn't like protect the PDF file. To be fair, just mentioning this now that you brought up religion here, it's not a good look for you. It is fucking weird. Jeffrey literally called Trump his best friend. 100%. He protects Trump. So this is my question for the MAGA people. Cheap gas, secure borders, and a lot more groceries are cheaper now. There's a lot less drugs and illegals entering the country. The ICE hasn't deported clearly as much as they said they were. The groceries are more expensive. Trump needed to cut his own tariffs from coffee because coffee was too expensive. Secure borders? Not really. Less drugs? They haven't attacked any of the drug dealers. They are attacking Venezuela on the meanwhile while Mexico and Colombia are still bringing fentanyl to the country. But Trump is not attacking Mexico or El Salvador or Colombia. He's targeting Venezuela. Muhammad, you're just fucking idiot. Like, this is one conversation that you should just take the L. He literally just fucked his own farmers the second time. Because of his tariffs and trade war with China, he needed to bail out his farmers for 12 billion again. He did the same in 2018 with the same reason. He's fucking his own country, creating issues, then fixing them. Then idiots like that is just glazing him. Look at Trump's first term. Trump is like an AI confidently stupid. Almost all Western leaders are destroying their own nations. That is true. Even the Democrats admit the border security is now impressive. You mean the new border rule that they made that tourists need to give 5 years of their social media activity? Trump is turning the United States to China with the social credit score. He's just a dementia, old man with dementia. Sundowning is what he has. These are all easy to find with a few searches and traveling around. I live on the border. I don't even believe you live in the United States. I'm pretty sure you're one of those India bots. To be fair, you're gonna say you're from wherever you need to be. So. You talked about drugs. Tell me why Trump is not stopping the fentanyl coming to the United States. What is this Diddy blood doing? Said hi. What up? Okay, Prophet Muhammad, why is Trump not stopping the fentanyl and attacking Venezuela? Please tell me. He's not attacking Mexico, the cartels in Mexico. He's not attacking the cartels in Colombia. Why? but China is rapidly advancing. Trump just gave fucking chips almost for nothing. Like AI required chips and technology almost for nothing. He hasn't done anything. He says that he's stopping the drug traffickers coming from Venezuela. The majority of the drugs from Venezuela actually goes to Europe and not the United States. Trump knows this. Trump wants the oil, though. He doesn't give a fuck about drugs, though. Who the fuck calls it the Gulf of America? It's not the Gulf of America. Only a proper fucking shill. Okay, I'm having enough of this. I want to have a real conversation about others. Was happening long before Trump, you clown. Which one? Trump lingering around pedophiles. Was that happening long before Trump? Probably. A lot of leaders have done that. Another Trump lover. I would love you to explain me why Trump is all over like pictures with Epstein. Tell me. Spin off the wheel. Come on, you can try. In my opinion, Bill Gates should be resigning from the Microsoft because his relationship with Epstein. 100%. Bill Clinton as well. The Democrats should condemn Bill Clinton. Now, you can try to do that for your cult leader. Everybody who's been in any relationship with Epstein should resign and never be in power. Your turn. They were running the pedo business together, probably. Both were in the real estate business. Both were Democrats back then. Oh no, Trump was a Democrat. Yeah, he was. That's why he probably also sucked Bill Clinton's dick, like the email said. Although Baba could be a horse or a Bill Clinton. We still don't know who Baba is. Other than the speculations that Baba is either a horse or Bill Clinton. Either way, it's gonna be hilarious if that comes out at some point. I do hope it's Bill Clinton, though. Because then we can actually have a conversation around that. If it's a horse, it's just fucking weird. I wonder why Jeffrey Epstein had a picture of Bill Gates. I think that's his hotel room, probably. Trump a rapist? Ah, yeah. Convicted felon also. And a fraudster. Failed businessman. His accolades are quite great. If he just wasn't such a fucking dick. You know? But I don't know. Like, he must be like... He must... There's so many... Trump in many photos with Epstein. Trump is in many photos with Epstein. Way too many photos. And people around Trump is also in many photos. So, all the MACA idiots, how do you explain that Trump is in the photos, in the files, in the flight logs, the fucking birthday card? How? Is it a coincidence? Or maybe it's because they were really good friends. And once we get every single file, this is gonna all go away. And we need to have some repercussions for people who were close friends with Jeffrey Epstein. The Clintons, Bill Gates, Donald Trump, all of these. Friends and business partners for sure. Probably lovers. I would say they probably had some fun as well. Okay. But if this was any other person, if this was any other leader of the country, if this was the president of Finland, if this was, well, the Prince of England, for example, Prince Andrew, Trump would resign, or the GOP would make Trump resign. But for some reason, the GOP, the Republican Party, and MAGA are fine with Trump being friends with Jeffrey Epstein. But that's good to know that GOP stands for supporting pedophiles and sex traffickers. Good job. I have no fucking sympathy for the Republican Party if they don't take action. If they are just like brushing this under the rug and try to make up bullshit. I have no sympathy for them. You lost your credibility when you removed Muhammad. You can handle being challenged on your views, so you ignore them. That makes your life delusional. You can't handle being challenged. No. The reason why I hit Muhammad was because I usually give idiots like this a small chance, like have a proper conversation. But if you start spouting just bullshit and you don't listen, it's hard to have a conversation when you don't really listen. 1 trillion Epstein files yet to release. Oh yeah, and I am waiting for that. Remember the outrage against the now disgraced Prince Andrew. Where is the energy for Trumpster? The issue is MAGA loves protecting PDFs and sex traffickers. And also convicted felons. So that's why there's no outrage. Prince Andrew should have been the case that we refer all the time. And Prince Andrew got away with too easy. He should have got a lot worse. So does this vile piece of shit as well. I 100% agree with that. I wonder if those are still for sale though. I would love to buy some. It's basically because it's their leader who could never do anything wrong, looks back to 1930s Germany. I also think that because they've given so much of their time to the cult of MAGA, that they are ride or die, you know? They can't back off now. So they need to go to the very end and protect their leader. I think they've invested too much of their personality and time to that MAGA. So they need to go literally all in, 100%. And it's just sad. But yeah, I thought that was an AI slap. Nope. These are all from the Epstein estate. And I say it again. This photo is the most disturbing one. There's a female passed out, a picture of a female passed out on the table of Epstein when Epstein is having a conversation with Steve Bannon, which we all know is a really close friend of Trump's and also his helper during the first campaigning and the second campaigning. And it's also one of the strongest advocates for Trump getting a third term. Him being, again, close associates with Jeffrey Epstein should raise a few eyebrows, and this should also be the political career ending case for Steve Bannon. What up, Sunrise? It's basically that either their fascism works or it dies. Honestly, we should take a lesson from the French and roll out the guillotine. No. I don't. This might be weird for some, but I don't want anyone to die. I don't want anyone to die on the hands of another person. They can kill themselves if they want to. That's the only life. Like this is only for me. I don't advocate this. Like I don't want this to be a policy, but I am against the death penalty. But because I don't believe anybody has the right to take another person's life other than your own. It's a weird thing. Like, I'm just so against like killing. Life in prison is the same as death. Yes, but in my twisted brain, it is not the same, because you can still live until you die naturally, or you can take your own life. Okay, we're just gonna put you in a box which is like 2 meters per 2 meters per 2 meters, and there's a hole on the roof that we drop food in. You could technically claim that that's killing the person, but we're providing them everything they need to survive. He could be deported, to know who would take him though. We aren't killing usually. Dehydration will. They can drink their own piss though. Yeah, that's literally my go-to punishment for everyone. If I would punish a bad person, is like put them in a box, ship them to Antarctica, and then there's like once a day a drone comes and drops some food on it, and then the drone fucks off. But that's a natural way of leaving the Earth. Yeah, I do have one punishment that is reserved to Elon Musk. If Elon Musk at any point does something really horrible, Elon Musk's punishment would be that we just shoot him to Mars, which is not a death penalty per se, because he might survive. But, you know, you'd have to agree there's at least a select few like Hitler that do deserve death. Yes, but if I like, that's the moral dilemma that I have, because yes, there are people like Adolf that 100%, because what they did, deserve to die. But if I bend my morale to even the worst of the worst, then I might do that again for a lesser reason, then again for a lesser reason, and all of a sudden I'm okay. That's a slippery slope. I would rather bury him in the desert, that there's still oxygen coming, and nobody knows where that grave is. I don't know how that would be done, but that would be one way of like sending him in somewhere that nobody knows where he is, and he would just be forgotten. That's almost as bad as dead, because he would be living until, well, he dies, in knowing that nobody fucking knows. Nobody cares. But there are 100% like, that's the moral dilemma that I have. I've had a few like thought processes, and like I've been thinking about that quite a lot. Like what would be the gap from killing 6 million people to like being cringe is quite big. Yeah, that is true though. But for example, if Putin now decided to drop a nuclear bomb on Ukraine, would killing Putin fix anything? Mostly because it's an atrocity that escapes normal moral quantifications. Like, usually when we kill, especially a prominent leader, it creates a fandom. Just like, well, that we've seen in the past. It creates like a cult that spans over decades. We still have people who idolizes and looks up to the 30s mustache man. 30s and 40s mustache man. There's a lot of people who looks up to Stalin, who killed even more people than Hitler. Okay, Stalin's a bit, both of them are a bit different because they weren't technically killed. They killed them, well, both technically killed themselves because Stalin sent all of the good doctors to Gulag. And there was only shit doctors left. And also when he got the stroke, nobody dared to go to the office because, well, they were told not to go there. And they knew that if they would break that rule, they would be shot or sent to Gulag. So Stalin technically also killed himself by making these weird rules, creating that fear atmosphere, and also sending all of the freaking doctors away. Imagine being such a terrifying person that when you're in your own office and you have a stroke and you fall to the ground, the guards outside the door hear that, but they are too afraid to open the door to check if you're okay, because they know that they would be shot or sent to Gulag. This was an interesting news. Hopping on to the next topic from Stalin. So the Danish Intelligence report warns of US military threat under Trump. A Danish intelligence agency report has warned that the United States is using its economic power to assert its will and threaten military force against both allies and adversaries. Copenhagen, Denmark. The United States is using its economic power to assert its will and threaten military force against friend and foe alike, a Danish intelligence agency said in a new report. The Danish Defense Intelligence Service in its latest annual assessment said Washington's greatest assertiveness under the Trump administration also comes as China and Russia seeks to diminish Western, especially American influence. Perhaps most sensitive to Denmark, a NATO and European Union member country and US ally, is growing competition between those great powers in the Arctic. US President Donald Trump has expressed a desire to see Greenland, a semi-autonomous mineral-rich territory of Denmark, become a part of the United States. A move opposed by Russia and much of Europe. Yes, because they don't want to be a part of the US. It is a part of Denmark, but US wants to take it by force. The strategic importance of the Arctic is rising as the conflict between Russia and the West intensifies, and the growing security and strategic focus on the Arctic by the United States will further accelerate these developments, said the report. It's like a lot of those leaders in those big countries, like those superpowers, are like children, spoiled children. I already have everything, but I want that thing that you have there. I want it so badly that I'm willing to go to war for it. They just want more and more and more and more. They're never satisfied. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said Russia is worried about NATO's activities in the Arctic and will respond by strengthening its military capability in the polar region. The findings and analysis in the report echo a string of recent concerns, notably in Western Europe, about an increasingly go-it-alone approach by the United States, which under Trump's second term has favored bilateral deals and partnership at the expense of multilateral alliances like NATO. For many countries outside the West, it has become a viable option to forge strategic agreements with China, rather than the United States. Read the report, which was written in Danish. China and Russia together with other like-minded states are seeking to reduce Western and particularly US global influence. At the same time, uncertainty has grown over how the United States will prioritize its resources in the future, it added. This gives regional powers greater room for maneuver, enabling them to choose between the United States and China, or to strike a balance between the two. It's funny that we are not yet in the resource war era, but for some reason they are trying to rush it, that we will get there sooner. I don't know why we are trying to do that, because that's eventually going to happen at some point, especially if we go backwards in technology, go back to fossil fuels, for example. Then the resource wars will start pretty soon, like not pretty soon, but sooner than if we just go completely renewable, you know? But for some reason, our leaders just want territory and they want war, which is sad. Let's talk about Bulgaria. Bulgaria is an interesting situation at the moment because it is not the first rodeo for the Gen Z generation. Generation Z. So Bulgarian Prime Minister and government resign after mass protest. The government of Bulgaria Prime Minister Rosen Zelenskyy has resigned after protests took to the streets in the cities across the country and filled the center of the capital Sofia on Wednesday night. Zelenskyy's dramatic move came ahead of a vote of no confidence in parliament and 20 days before Bulgaria joins the euro. Protest has accused his minority center-right government in power since January of widespread corruption. The government had already scraped a controversial budget plan for the next year in response to the demonstrations last week. We hear the voice of the citizens protesting against the government, Zelenskyy said in a TV address. Both young and old have raised their voices for our resignation, he added. This civic energy must be supported and encouraged. A statement on the government website said ministers would continue in their roles until a new cabinet was elected. Admirable move. The citizens have spoken. You resign. If only somebody orange would do this as well. Have a bit of backbone. Between 50,000 and 100,000 people turned out in Sofia and Central Triangle of Power and Independence Square on Wednesday. They didn't want to though, but they had no choice. But still. Wednesday evening calling for the government to go. The words resignation and mafia out were projected onto the parliament building. They were backed last week by President Rumen Radev, who had also called on the government to stand down. The ones that led never want to give power. That is true. Zelenskyy's government had already survived 5 votes of no confidence and was expected to get through a 6th on Thursday. Many of the protesters have been angered by the roles of 2 figures, oligarch Delian Bivsky and ex-Prime Minister Boyko Borisov. A Wednesday rally was organized under the slogan Resignation, Bivsky and Borisov out of power, Bulgaria's BTA news agency reported. Bevsky has been sanctioned by the US and UK for alleged corruption, and his party has helped prop out the government. Borisov, on the other hand, is part of Zelenskyy's Gov't party, which came first in October 2024. And he was reported to have said on Wednesday that the coalition parties had agreed to remain in power until Bulgaria joined the Eurozone on January 1st. Borisov was prime minister when anti-corruption protests brought down his government in 2020, and there have been 7 elections since. And now again, he is corrupt and he's gonna get thrown out of the government. Despite the political drama in Sofia, Bulgaria's move to join the euro is not seen as under threat. In his resignation statement, the outgoing prime minister said Bulgaria faced a major challenge and its citizens would need to produce authentic proposals on what the next government should look like. Bulgaria ranks among the highest in Europe in terms of the public's perception of official corruption, according to the Transparency International. Freaking love this. We need to see more of this around the world. Citizens start to rise. We've seen this in Nepal, where they drove their corrupt government out. We saw this in Philippines as well. Also, just read about the Romanian situation. We're going to follow up on that when it's going on. Now Bulgaria. More and more citizens are standing up and fighting against governments that are corrupt. And I hope this grows wider. I do wholeheartedly say that this is a good thing. There's so many corrupt governments that aren't looking after their citizens. Hopefully Russia is watching. Not Putin and Kremlin, but Russian citizens. I would love to read news before the new year that there's a massive protest in Moscow against the government of the war of Ukraine. That would be the greatest New Year's gift ever. Not gonna happen though, because I would think that if there was a protest, there would be a lot of casualties there. Because if you know history, you know that Russians don't really like protests. Well, no, the Russian citizens like to protest, but the Russian governments don't, and the secret police don't. So it's a day, and that's probably the reason why there isn't more uprising and protest in Russia anymore, because they treat all of that violently, which is the reason why the current government of Russia needs to go, so the citizens can actually like live without fear. Everywhere I go, I see Trump in Epstein photos. Everywhere I go. All right, what did the... Let's see this first. This was more about the Bulgaria news. Students from Sofia University have joined the protest, which organizers said outnumbered last week's rallies that drew more than 50,000 people. Media estimated based on drone visuals put the number of protesters at over 100,000. Let's actually check that.
This Christmas.
Gen Z-led protests. It is wild that it required Gen Z to stand up on all the corruption. Fucking sheeple boomers.
Weeks and in several other Bulgarian cities. It's been a gradually growing movement driven by dissatisfaction with the government, accusations of corruption, economic grievances and a demand for new leadership. In common with similar protests in other countries, it's younger people, Gen Z, who are at the forefront with the demand for change, united under the slogan aimed at those in power.
Okay, where's the one piece flags? Where's the straw hat flags? That's the flag of a generation. If we have a protest at any point in Ireland, I'm gonna go and wave my flag there. 100%. I would buy that. There was a country that banned this. Oh, Indonesia, yeah. Indonesia banned straw hat flag. That's one of the stupidest things to do. Because it's all about freedom if you know One Piece. That's why straw hats do what they do, is because they want everybody to be free and outside of the world government's reach. So them being banned and hunted by their own government kind of proves their point. That you don't really have freedom. US wants Ukraine to withdraw from Donbas and create free economic zones, says Zelenskyy. Ukrainian president says plan would not be fair without guarantees that Russia would not simply take over zone. The US wants Ukraine to withdraw its troops from the Donbas region, and Washington would then create a free economic zone in the parts Kiev currently controls, Volodymyr Zelenskyy has said. Previously, the US has suggested that Kiev should hand over the parts of Donbas it's still controlled to Russia, but the Ukrainian president said on Thursday that Washington had now suggested a compromise version in which Ukrainian troops would withdraw, but Russian troops would not advance into the territory. So it's a buffer zone. Who will govern this territory, which they are calling a free economic zone or demilitarization zone? They don't know, said the Ukrainian president speaking with journalists in Kiev. Zelenskyy said Ukraine did not believe the plan was fair without guarantees that Russian troops would not simply take over the zone after Ukrainian withdrawal. If one side's troops have to retreat and the other side stays where they are, then what will hold back these other troops? The Russians? Or what will stop them disguising themselves as civilians and taking over this free economic zone? This is all very serious. It's not a fact that Ukraine would agree to it, but if you're talking about compromise, then it has to be fair compromise. I think, like, if we want to do a compromise like this, I still think that the only solution that should be on the table is Russia fucking off from Ukraine. I've been thinking about that ever since. like that is literally Russia started the special military operations. So Russia should fuck off. End of special militarized operation. Although they call it war now. But back then they decided to call it a specialized military operation. So it's not, it's a war. So Russia just fucks off, war is ended. Under the US plans that Zelenskyy, Ukraine would withdraw from Donbas, where Russia is advancing, while the front lines would be frozen in the Kherson and Zaporizhia region. Russia would give up a few small pockets of land it controls in the other regions. I hope they don't compromise. What stopped them taking more? EU to freeze 210 billion in Russian assets indefinitely. The decision is a significant step towards using the cash to aid Ukraine's defense, but Moscow is threatening to retaliate. Fuck you, Moscow. The EU has agreed to indefinitely freeze Russia's sovereign assets in the bloc as Moscow step up its threats to retaliate against Euroclear, the keeper of most of Kremlin's immobilized money. The decision by the EU to use emergency powers to immobilize 210 billion euros of its central bank's assets mark a significant step towards using the cash to aid Ukraine in defending against Russia. European Council President Antonio Costa confirmed on Friday that EU leaders had delivered on a commitment made in October to keep Russian assets immobilized until Russia ends the war against Ukraine. It's not a war of aggression, it's war. Before this step, EU sanctions underpinning the frozen assets need to be renewed every 6 months, creating potential for a Kremlin-friendly government such as Hungary to veto the move. Nah, just all the money that you like frozen, all the Russian assets should be used for Ukraine. All of it. Russia, I wouldn't give Russia back any of them. Wait a second. The decision came hours after Russia's central bank said it was filing a lawsuit against Euroclear, the Brussels Central Securities Depository that holds these assets. The organization, once a little-known part of an international financial plumbing that is now in the spotlight, has no say on how the frozen funds are used. The lawsuit being filed in a Moscow court claims Euroclear illegal action had caused damage to the central bank's ability to manage funds and securities. Euroclear declined to comment, but spokesperson said it was currently fighting more than 100 legal claims in Russia. Last week, the European Commission proposed a $90 billion loan for Ukraine, secured against Russia's assets immobilized in the EU since its full-scale invasion. But the plan has been blocked by Belgium, which fears a cascade of lawsuits from Moscow and the seizure of Belgian assets in the country. Ah, fucking cowards. Cowards, if you ask me. Belgian Prime Minister Bart de Wever met Keir Starmer in Downing Street on Friday for long-planned talks on the EU-UK reset, migration and the Russian assets. De Wever's spokesperson said that they had discussed the possible use of the value of immobilized Russian sovereign assets and agreed to continue to work closely to make progress on this complex issue. The Downing Street spokesperson issued a near identical statement saying it was clear they agreed that keeping up the economic pressure on Russia and putting Ukraine in the strongest possible position would remain the only way to achieve a just and lasting peace. 100% agree with that. It's not gonna last long if Russia gets what he wants. If Russia gets all that Russia wants, because then they're gonna take a break and continue invading Ukraine again. Why wouldn't they? They have no plans to stop, and they already saw once that they got away with it, so might as well like, you know, keep going. Trump just addressed from the Oval Office his giant defeat in Indiana, where 21 Republican state senators joined all 10 Democrats to oppose his congressional.
We won every other state. That's the only state. It's funny because I won Indiana all 3 times by a landslide, and I wasn't working on it very hard. Would have been nice. I think we would have picked up 2 seats if we did that. You had one gentleman, the head of the Senate, I guess, Bray, whatever his name is.
Always wondering what this. No. I am being told that Democrats have held back the worst of the worst and plan to trickle them out if Trump refuses to release the Epstein files by the 19th.
That we did not put out today. But I think, again, these pictures, some of these photos are really disturbing. And I know we've put some out today. There are many others. And some of the other photos that we did not put out today are incredibly disturbing. Well, I think, again, these pictures, some of these photos.
I love this. So much pressure on Trump. On the 19th. So it's next Friday, right? Yes. 7 days. Trump has 7 days to sign the release of the Epstein files. Why he's taking this long? He could just do it. It's because they try to redact everything. Why is he trying to redact everything? Because he is in everywhere, in everything and everywhere. So of course he wants to redact as much as possible. I love that. 7 days. Trump has 7 days. And you can bet your ass that we're going to cover the whole thing. We're going to look through everything. And everybody who's appearing with Jeffrey Epstein more than one occasion. Even one is too much. They should feel the consequences of being acquaintances or friends or business partners with a pedophile and sex trafficker. Everybody. Whether you're a Democrat, whether you're left-wing, right-wing, Republican, MAGA, Trump, royal, even royalty, I don't fucking care. Everybody. Poof. Get the fuck out where you are. If you're a CEO of a company, not anymore. If you're the president of the United States, not anymore. If you're a member of the Congress, not anymore. If you're the fucking King of England, not anymore. Everybody, just left and right. Pew, pew, pew. Get the fuck out of the power. But we have this thing called due process, and we need to prove that they are guilty. No, just association with a horrible person like that should be enough. And if you protect those people, you're a part of the problem. If you are making excuses and protecting people who were friends, associates, acquaintances, business partners, with a known pedophile, sex trafficker, you are a part of the problem. 100%. Oh, we had some videos sent to me. Why do I have Andrew Tate? How the Tate brothers returned to the United States.
Did a video to their followers.
No one has ever been more back than we just got.
As they were on their way to Florida. Since 2022, they had been under criminal investigation in Romania. They had both been accused of trafficking dozens of women into a porn business that they ran. Andrew had also been accused of
My English getting married. My English small.
raping one of those women and of having sex with a 15-year-old. Prosecutors in Romania had prohibited them from leaving the country. Andrew and Tristan Tate deny all allegations. Since the tapes were first released from Romania, we have reviewed our...
The best way, whatever and beyond, the best way to make your English better and getting better, like in written and spoken English, is just using it as much as possible. And I don't like judge anybody. English isn't my first language either. So the more you use it, the more comfortable you become with it, and the more natural you become with it. So don't feel bad. Like, even if your English wasn't that good, it's not like I can read it. So, like, it's not bad. Have confidence. You're gonna get there. I have faith in you.
Hours of video clips, hundreds of pages of text messages and emails and court records.
What we do is win. Name a time the tapes have ever lost. No.
This moment is the culmination of years of efforts by the Tates to cozy up to allies on the American right. Andrew has long been a supporter of Donald Trump, and he has also cultivated relationships with his sons. It starts with Don Jr. In 2017. Andrew sent a supportive tweet of Trump, and soon the two of them were hanging out at Trump Tower. This relationship continues through 2023. When Andrew and his brother are placed under house arrest, Don Jr. sends out a tweet expressing his support for Andrew. Joseph McBride, the Tate's lawyer, who had come to prominence representing Trump supporters who had been accused of insurrection on January 6th at the Capitol, pitches his new client to the conservative host Tucker Carlson, who travels to Romania and conducts a lengthy interview with Andrew in his mansion while he's under house arrest.
I mean, I was sympathetic to you already, but, you know, a man's accused of human trafficking. It's worth finding out what he's accused of.
This is a key turning point. Soon, other high-profile conservatives are defending the Tates.
When I see some of these videos and I see conservatives assigning like real meaning to you saying stuff that is just so obviously content for young boys.
Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan stand for the same things that I stand for.
Listening to him with Tucker for an hour and a half, 2 hours, it clicked. Okay, now I see why he's popular.
And by 2024, Barron Trump is also a fan. Barron hosts a dinner at Mar-a-Lago for several prominent conservative influencers. One of them was Justin Waller, who has helped the Tates run their businesses and sort of says that he's widely seen as the third brother. Waller told me that Barron admired the Tates.
You mean the mafia-run casinos in Romania? That's not a brag, though. What other businesses? Oh yeah, Hustler University. Was that Andrew Tate's thing? Yeah. That's true. And then they had the meme coins as well. None of those are legit businesses, though.
And he said that he and Barron called Andrew together and discussed the Tate's case. When we reached out for comment, McBride called our reporting on the relationship between Andrew and Barron fake news. So the Tates are building up a lot of support here in the United States. And after Trump is reelected, some of those supporters have even more power and influence. Paul Ingrassia, who had once served on the Tate's legal team, is now the White House liaison to the Justice Department. Alina Habba, who had served as a personal lawyer to Trump, was now a counselor to the president.
Yeah, because Alina Habba was just ousted from the Justice Department, but then Pam Bondi decided to bring her back as a liaison or a consultant or something like that.
She appeared on a podcast with Andrew in January.
We need strong, powerful voices like yours, and yeah, I got your...
Well, once you look at that, Russian asset Penny Johnson is there. Penny Johnson was one of those social media influencers from the right. That nice healthy hair. Hey, thanks. It's kind of dirty though. I was drinking it yesterday. I haven't taken a shower after that. So Benny Johnson was one of those social media influencers, those right-wing social media influencers that got sued by the US government because they found out that Russia was funding them to say pro-Russia things. There was Benny Johnson was one of them. Tim Pool was another one. There was a lot of them. What up, Max?
Back over here.
And this man, Richard Grenell, a special diplomatic envoy for Trump, discussed the Tate's case with at least 2 Romanian officials. Our reporting found that one of those discussions took place at Mar-a-Lago with an advisor to the Romanian Prime Minister last December. Ponta told us that he had discussed the Tate's case with Grenell. He then backpedaled and said they had not discussed the case. The other discussion was with Romania's foreign minister at a conference in Munich in February. In a statement to the Times, Grenell said it was the foreign minister who raised the issue of the Tates. His statement did not address the Mar-a-Lago conversation. The public support from some of these allies set off alarm bells in Romania. On February 26th, Andrew sent a text message to someone close to him that we reviewed. He wrote, "I have very detailed instructions from the Americans about crossing borders, phones, passports, etc. I can't say more." So in the early hours of February 27th, the brothers were driven to a private plane. At the time, we asked McBride, their lawyer, whether the Trump administration had anything to do with their release. And he didn't answer the question directly, but he said, quote, "Do the math. These guys are on the plane." Sources who spoke to us on the condition of anonymity told us that the prosecutors did not want to do this. But the prime minister believed that lifting the travel bans would appease the Trump administration. He did not respond to requests for comment.
What a fucking coward that guy is. No wonder things are getting real in Romania. It's a good thing that they are trying to get rid of their corruption.
Donald Trump helped get the travel ban lifted?
Once they're back in the United States, there were some conservatives who spoke out against them upon their arrival. And as this rift is becoming more and more evident, President Trump says he knew nothing about it.
So I know nothing about that. I don't know. You're saying he's on a plane right now?
He doesn't know anything about anything ever. If you ever listen to Trump, he always claims that he knows nothing about nothing.
An official with the White House said it is not involved in anything related to the Tate's legal matters. In March, the Tate brothers returned to Romania for a court date and have not come back to the United States. Shortly after they left, one of Andrew's former girlfriends accused him of assaulting her when they reunited during his visit. She said that when they had sex, he had beaten her and choked her to near unconsciousness, which he denies.
Well, that sounds like the good old-fashioned Conor McGregor move. Isn't that the way that Conor McGregor does things? During a tense hearing Thursday, some Democrats called Kristi Noem to resign. Oh yeah, 100%. Kristi Noem
Madam Secretary, your
resign.
incompetence and your inability to truthfully carry out your duties of Secretary of Homeland Security. If you're not fired, will you resign?
Sir, I will consider your asking me to resign as an endorsement of my work. Thank you very much.
No. You stupid idiot. Listen to what he said. It wasn't an endorsement. I know Kristi Noem doesn't have many brain cells. There's too much Botox in her head to have room for brain cells anymore. She just needs to listen.
I have proven that. We're supposed to be talking about worldwide threats, but unfortunately we're talking about homeland threats in our homeland.
Secretary Noem, Trump administration, you're going after the worst of the worst criminals. And
why is there a full-on Indian questioning Noem? Why wouldn't there be? Like, it wasn't an Indian, it was Americans, though.
Madam Secretary, your incompetence and your inability.
Voice of Representative Sri Dandar, Democrat of Michigan. All of those have this like United States citizenship. So
ability to.
We're supposed to be talking about worldwide threats, but unfortunately, we're talking about homeland threats in our homeland.
Secretary Noem, Trump administration.
Looks like a duck and
You're
quacks.
going
It's
after
a
the
duck.
worst of the worst criminals, and we agree with you. The problem is 70% of the people you've arrested have no criminal record. You're going after non-criminal immigrants, U.S. citizens, and permanent legal residents.
We have not deported U.S. citizens or military veterans.
I don't believe you served in the military. I haven't.
Madam Secretary, you and the gentleman from NCTC reference the unfortunate accident that occurred with the National Guardsman being killed.
You think that was an unfortunate accident?
I mean,
It was a terrorist
no,
attack.
wait. Look, I'll get it straight. Then you can
He shot our
respond.
National Guardsman in the
It was an unfortunate situation, but you blamed it solely on Joe Biden. Trump administration, DHS, your DHS, approved the asylum application.
True.
Gentlelady yields back. I now recognize the gentleman from.
That is true. That Afghan who shot those two not Homeland Security, National Guardsmen. He was approved. Initially, he was brought by Joe Biden, but his asylum was reapproved in April this year by Kristi Noem and the Homeland Security. The deportations need to increase massively. Millions need to go. From the United States, you guys have room there.
Texas, Mr. Luttrell, for 5 minutes.
And that vetting standard was used by the Biden administration.
Hysteria. Is Venezuela Iraq Part 2?
And I know what MAGA is doing. They're convincing us that Iraq was an entirely different set of circumstances. That country.
USA, UK, Germany, all of the West. It's basically because it's their job. It's their leader who could never do anything. Oh. Less than 5% of the UK immigrants are living solely on social welfare. And the social welfare in UK is, what was it, like £50 a week? It's not much. So 95% of the UK migrants are actually participating in the society and paying taxes. The same is here in Ireland. So I think like migration is beneficial if it's done correctly. No, we just had a debate yesterday. We went through the numbers. Solely on benefits. 5%, less than 5%, according to the statistics from the UK government. We were looking at, because there was a claim who said that vast majority of migrants live only on welfare. So we fact-checked that claim. And it was actually because we need to take, the argument was solely on welfare. So they wouldn't get money from anywhere else, not from like part-time job or anything. So we checked the statistics of that. And it's actually like those who are solely living from benefits and welfare of the migration population are under 5%. These people are brought in to increase the value of land for rich landowners and to decrease wages for business owners. It's a con job. But the business owners have decreased the wages already without the immigration, though. I do agree with that. Like, businesses should pay more, but they have decreased. The capitalist idea is maximizing profit, which means that they want to lower wages as much as possible. It's union busting by different means. What up, Jonathan? I used to be a union rep back in Finland. So I have fought for better wages. And those companies didn't want to lower wages because of migration. It's because of corporate greed. They want to maximize their profit. And that's been the case since the dawn of time. And I like the union representation in UK used to be stronger than it is at the moment. For example, here in Ireland, the unions don't really have any power. Only good thing is a lot of the wages are quite nice here in Ireland, but the cost of living is quite high as well. Yes, but lower immigration forces the companies to compete for skilled workers and wages are go up. No. It's never happened. Literally, like, if you look for the past 40 years, they always make excuses to lower the wages. So I wouldn't like this is a new thing that we're blaming immigrants for wages being lower. Of course, there's been like, for example, let's take Walmart, for example. Like Walmart tries to come to Europe, all over Europe. And for example, in Finland, they declined Walmart coming there because they wanted to push the minimum wage under 10 euros. And in Finland, that's not happening. No. We're not allowing that. So companies coming to a country because they want to push the minimum wage already before there's like, yeah, it's not the migrants. It happened after the Black Death in the 1990s. You mean the stock market crash of 92? Or the stock market crash of the 80s? Falling of the Soviet Union. But I lived in the UK in the early 2010s. It's always been a scapegoat to blame migrants. Then, in the 2010s, it was the Polish. Everybody was blaming the Polish of everything. The Polish were the ones doing all the crime. Polish were the ones that were living on welfare, stealing, pushing down the wages. That was literally the rhetoric back then. Then there was another nationality, then another nationality, then another nationality. It always shifts. In the 2000s, I think it was Romanian gypsies. Your government admitted that this is their plan to bring migrants so they can lower wages. Greedy corporates, take it never. Take it, they good.
It was led by a sword-wielding, mustachioed madman who held an iron grip on his people and his power. Nicolas Maduro is nothing like... Oh, shit.
I said it immediately when they shifted their focus on Venezuela. Bojo came out and said it in multiple interviews. The Bank of Ireland come out and said it. Good old-fashioned Bojo. Maduro's very compared to Saddam. Oh yeah, but I said it immediately when the United States skipped those actual drug trafficking countries and went after Venezuela because, of course, like if you've read anything about Venezuela, you know they have huge oil reserves. And when I noticed that Trump is literally trying to start a war with Venezuela, I was like, okay, we have an Iraq 2.0. They are saying that they're fighting drugs, but they are going against a country that has nothing to do with the fentanyl trade in the United States. Instead, they are skipping Mexico and Colombia. Venezuela does traffic drugs, but not Venezuela, but the cartels, but they come to Europe. So when I saw that Trump shifted his aim at Venezuela, I was like, oh, well, I've seen this before. I'm old enough to remember Iraq. Oil, baby. Oh, yeah. It's not a funny subject in general, but damn, those two could be brothers. That is true. There will be no conflict in there. They'll copy the gray zone stuff like the Russians did in Ukraine 2014. Yeah, they're just gonna take the oil and fuck off. Hopefully there's no conflict. I don't want anybody to get hurt though. But it is kind of dumb from Trump to say that. Like, just admit what you're really doing. You're going there for oil, not for stopping drugs though. Especially because he pardoned that ex-Honduran president who fucking took bribes from the cartel and was part of the drug trafficking ring that brought 400 tons of cocaine to the United States. Based on him talking to a few people from Honduras that said that he's a good guy. I love decision making like that. A few people from Honduras said that he's a good guy, the ex-president who was convicted of like corruption, taking money laundering, and taking bribes. That's also my sources. I ask a few locals, what do you think about them? If they say it's a good guy, it's a good guy. If they say it's a bad guy, it's a bad guy. Trump can't do a proper war because he sees his lack of new wars as a part of his legacy. He'll do everything up to war. Hopefully. No new wars. Yeah. He hasn't really properly ended any either. But I don't think it's the place of the United States president to end any wars, though. That's my 2 cents. And especially not starting any wars.
Where do Israeli soldiers go after killing babies in Gaza?
Oh my fucking god. What did you send to me?
Where do Israeli soldiers go after...
In Trump's word, Manic Maduro and his trucks are causing millions and trillions of deaths in America. Manic Maduro needs to go. Thank you for your attention to this matter. To be fair, this is the reality we live in. That sounds like something that Trump said, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't word for word like that. But it sounds something that Trump would say. Oh, thank God. But this is the weird reality that we live in. Like, I could, if I saw that quote in like a Twitter handle, I would believe that. Of course, I would do my due diligence as you saw, like I would check. Because it would be irresponsible for me to like preach fact-checking things. What are your thoughts on the Trump's government's unconditional support to Israel? I mean, it's like a paid sponsorship, so it's so bad that you can't even make out fiction from reality true. But it is a paid sponsorship from Trump and Trump's administration, and it's been a paid sponsorship for a long time. US benefits a lot from Israel, though, so they're willing to pump up money there. As you said, unconditionally. Because they can use Israel as a proxy to attack Middle Eastern countries, like they have done. So it's literally a paid promotion. And also, Americans can influence others. Where are you from, sir? Ireland. But speaking of Israel, where do Israeli soldiers go after killing babies?
Israeli soldiers go after killing babies in Gaza. They come here to India.
To Goa, Himachal, Dharamkot, Pushkar, and Kasol, also known as the Hummus Trail, built around Israeli backpacker culture.
Every year, 30 to 50,000 Israelis travel to India. The number goes up to 80,000. India is one of Israel's biggest getaway destinations.
So what exactly is happening? These are not your usual journeys. These are state-sanctioned and military-approved detox trips that the IDF is taking to India.
Israel
God damn. I know I'm from Himachal, India. That's brutal.
Also,
these are state-sanctioned and
military-approved detox.
military-approved detox trips that the IDF is taking to India.
Israel also calls them the post-army big trip for their
Still questioning me sending you this video, I know. Saw a few Israelis when I went to India 2 weeks ago. Bro, they have their own areas over here full of drugs and adult activities they do, and locals can't say none to them. Well, to be fair, according to my IDF sources, because I used to have colleagues that were formerly part of IDF, I was working in a multicultural company, and I was responsible for the Finnish and English locale, and I had colleagues from like Brazil, France, everywhere, and I also had Hebrew colleagues who were like responsible for the Hebrew locale, and both of them used to be IDF soldiers, and they were atheists, and I was kind of surprised by that. And then I of course like entertained the conversation, and they told me that a lot of IDF soldiers are atheists. They are not Jewish, they are not Christian, they don't believe in God. And I said that, is that real? They were like, yeah, we don't, what we do is nothing to do with God. And I was really, really surprised by that. Do you follow Christianity? No, I'm an atheist. But I don't judge anybody for being religious or believing, like I don't have any issues with that. I just don't believe myself.
soldiers to disconnect from what they've done in Gaza.
As the genocide in Gaza continues, an article documents the IDF holidaying in India as Israelis fresh out of foot shouldering this brutal offensive, with hostels in Dharamkot covered in stickers and flags glorifying IDF units active in Gaza.
Goa hosts raves and drug parties. Dharamshala has an Israeli enclave.
Himachal Pradesh, Dharamkot village known as Mini Israel, now a high-end destination. Dharamkot village known as Mini Israel of Himachal Pradesh is the only village of the state with a Jewish community center, Shabbat house. This was famous for dim-lit restaurant and cheap homestays, but now it has turned host to a 5-star hotels, the first of its kind property in a lower part of the state. Wow. Met a guy who claimed he was a sniper in the IDF army and claimed that he had been deployed to Gaza. That's true, they made their own colonies. Our policies protect them, they have powerful connections to Israelis. The IDF soldiers that were, well, former IDF soldiers that were my colleagues, they actually had their credentials with them. And they had like evidence to back it up, because we had a day that we showed like pictures of like our former lives and such, and they brought pictures when they were like, the other one was a captain, and the other one was a lieutenant. So, because they met in the army, they were a husband and wife. They both met in the army, in IDF. So, of course, I'm a bit skeptical whenever somebody claims that, but
Called Mini Israel.
In Pushkar, shopkeepers speak Hebrew and dhabas serve Israeli food, and along the Varanasi Ghats, menus rename their dishes after Israeli tastes.
In Kasol, a white-only Israeli cafe has been documented. Basically, India has become a rehab center for IDF soldiers.
I have some sources in India. I need to check this on on Monday, just to be like doing my own due diligence.
Committing genocide in Gaza.
And why is that? Because India never signed the Rome Statute. It can't arrest foreign soldiers accused of genocide.
India is deeply tied to Israel's weapons industry. We spend around $3 billion.
It's true, trust me, I'm local. I want to trust you, but then again, if I'm willing to talk about this, I need to do more due diligence, you know. You seem to have a lot of sources. That's one of the benefits of working with international people. That's one of the benefits of it. I literally know people from a lot of different countries. Hey, Yuma, thanks for the sub. Jurav Singh, thanks for the sub. Like, okay. Should we start listing countries that I know people who live there or have lived there or have relatives there? Just like starting off with Europe, I can pretty much cross almost every single country in Europe. I don't think I know anybody from Moldova, though. Yeah, Moldova might be one. Yeah, and Luxembourg as well. And Andorra. Yeah, okay. Andorra, Luxembourg, and Moldova. Those are the only that I don't really know anybody. Then if we go to Asia, then like I have friends from India, Pakistan, Iraq, Iran, Lebanon, India, Philippines, Indonesia. What benefits of working with immigrants can't be true. But it is like I get to talk to people about different cultures and what's the point of this video anyways? Are these two trying to blame India for the things happening in Gaza? I don't think so.
A year on Israeli missiles, drones, and surveillance tech tested on Palestinians in Gaza.
This makes me think of something that Savarkar wrote in 1940. If the Zionist dreams are ever realized, it'll gladden us almost as much as our Jewish friends.
Fast forward to today, Modi's India and Netanyahu's Israel share the same Islamophobic vision.
So when some say that the Palestinian cause does not concern our motherland, the truth is that the IDF and the Zionists are literally in our backyard.
Where do
Okay, I'll take that back. It kind of is that they're blaming, but to be fair, Modi is aligning with Netanyahu. Prime Minister Modi is aligning with Netanyahu. I didn't know that you guys had this. One of my friends lives in Kashmir, in the north, and the other friend actually lives more closer to Goa. So she might actually know something. The craziest guy I ever spoke to was some Syrian guy who was serving the Al-Sharas army. I can top that. Well, it's almost as good as that one. It's not the craziest guy. It's the biggest surprise ever. I had a colleague in the same company that these two IDF soldiers were. And we always, me and my Finnish colleagues, we were speculating about this one specific guy at the office who always had like those military camo pants on, those Caterpillar desert army boots on, and he was built like a proper special forces agent. And he didn't talk to anybody that much. He was always super serious, but he had that 1,000-yard stare that you get when you see some shit going down. And finally, when a lot of people left the company because of like different redundancy processes and others, and there was only us, the Hebrew locale, and the Turkish locale left. So we were having a team meeting at like a team lunch, and we were talking about different weird foods we've eaten. So I was talking about hunting and like eating moose's tongues and such like that. And I noticed that he just stood up and left when I was talking about hunting and like skinning animals and such. And I was like, that's kind of weird because I thought that he was in the army. And then I went back to my place and he was like sitting next to me. His place was literally next to me. And I was like, just wanted to have a casual conversation, like, do you hunt? And he was like, back in the 80s, I used to be in the Soviet army and I killed thousands of people, so I don't even cut my steak. And I was like, who fucking says that? And then we started having a conversation, and he met his wife in Israel, because after the Soviet Union fell, a lot of Jews were hunted down. So he fled Soviet Union to Israel, and he joined the Israeli. He wasn't a part of the IDF, so you can make your math who he was working with. But he met his wife there. And his wife got a job in Ireland. And he didn't want to go. So his wife pulled a grenade out of his bag. This is him telling me the story as he told me he's killed thousands of people during the Soviet Union in the 80s. And he pulled a grenade out of his service bag, pulled the pin out and said that either we both go or neither of us go. So then he took put his hand on the grenade and put the pin back in and said that, okay, I'll come to Ireland. He didn't know any English, so he had to learn English and everything to be able to live in Ireland. And he's still living in Ireland. One of the most interesting persons I've ever met. And also, you can clearly see that he's killed somebody in his life. I hope everything's fine with him. But yeah. Then we did the math, me and my colleagues, because we knew his age. We did the math because he said that he started the service in 82. He was fucking 15 years old in 1982. And he said that he did the killing between 82 and 84. You know, the problem is we have to side with Israel and Russia for weapons and tech because US is not trustworthy. Historically, US has supported Pakistan currently to they supply weapons to Pakistan. Yeah. That's the difficult conundrum that you need to pick a side. And to be fair, there aren't that many alternatives. If you're not buying stuff from US, then you're kind of buying stuff from Russia and China or either one, you know? They love that guy over there. I couldn't go a mile without seeing a poster of that guy there. Oh yeah, those stories, they shape, it's one of my favorite memories from that work, and I worked there for 2 years. It's just because we've seen each other every day for a year, and we've always said good morning, good morning. Then when we left, we say I'll see you tomorrow or something like that. Those were the only conversations before this conversation about him being a Soviet Union army soldier and killing thousands of people. I don't have stories like that. No. All right, that's gonna be enough. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And thanks for everybody who participated in Twitch, YouTube. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great evening. And Churav, if you're based in India, it's already past midnight, so have a great rest of the night. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. Or I'll be streaming 5 days a week, so at some time we're gonna meet up.